Now on CoastTV News.
The rain is moving out and the cold is moving in. We dried out today with chilly and windy conditions. Protect your plants tonight. We have a freeze warning in effect into Wednesday morning. Details coming up.
Will Parker Selby show? That is the question about the Milton State Rep as the Delaware General Assembly holds several hearings today in Dover.
Dollars for Dewey, the amount of money the Sussex County Council could contribute to build the new Dewey Beach Town Hall.
Florida finish.
Florida is back on top of the college basketball world.
The Gators rally to win the national championship.
This is CoastTV News Today.
And we're making our way on this Tuesday morning. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
And good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. It is Tuesday, April 8th, 2025.
Got some fog in some places this morning if you're getting ready to head out. You actually experienced some on your drive in.
I experienced fog and deer. Great combo.
Lots of deer.
Got to go extra slow and be careful. Yeah, the deer have been a little crazy lately, so you need to be careful if you're driving this morning. Good thing is no rain. Bob is going to tell us so. It is cold.
He's got the forecast. I don't think he has got the deer forecast.
No. You got to work on that, Bob. No.
The deer are out there, especially the time we come into work, so watch for that. Limited visibility with the fog, and it is soaking wet out there. We had 1 to 2 inches of rain, wet roads, large puddles, so really take it slow. 4 miles in fog now in Ocean City. The visibility is kind of fluctuating between 4 and 6 miles in Salisbury, Georgetown, so use the low beam headlights, and I think the rain is pretty much done, maybe a lingering sprinkle here and there, but drier air is beginning to build in as the heavier rain has moved offshore. And there's that cold front now making its way into our neck of the woods. Behind it, it's really cold. They're seeing lake effect snow from Cleveland into upstate New York right now. So that's just telling us how cold this air mass is as Arctic high pressure is building into the Great Lakes. And that will settle over us tonight, giving us that chance of a freeze. But right now, we've got temperatures in the low to mid 40s. Could dip into the 30s for a time as that cold air is moving in. And those winds are already starting to gust out of the northwest. We'll clear out the clouds and fog this morning, could dip into the 30s for a time, and it's windy and it's cold. Temperatures only recovering into the mid to upper 40s this afternoon, but with these strong winds, it's going to be feeling like 30, so you want to dress for winter all day long. But watch for the fog this morning and the wet roads and the big puddles. I gave it the yellow light for the morning commute, and then windy and chilly heading home. Hang on to that steering wheel. Winds gusting over 40 miles per hour at times.
Thank you, Bob. We're going live now to Delaware's capital city of Dover. What a great looking shot. Beautiful. There is just before sunrise. General Assembly will be in session today. Got a full slate of committee hearings and meetings. 5 of them are set to take place in the House of Representatives. Question in our top story this morning, will District 20 Representative, Democrat Stell Parker Selby, be in attendance? So far this year, she has not. Even though this session of the General Assembly started in January, we were told Parker Selby was only sworn in weeks ago, and this has created a controversy. District 20, which covers Milton and parts of Lewis, has not had representation on votes this year in the House. In March, the Delaware Republican Party sent a letter to House Democratic leaders to address Parker Selby's absence.
In November 2024, Parker Selby was reelected to the House for a second term. Here's what we know about her situation. Parker Selby sent a letter stating she would not be present at Legislative Hall due to a medical event. Over 90 pieces of legislation have been voted on in the House in 2025. Parker Selby has not voted on any of them.
We have developing news in Dewey Beach. As CoastTV has been reporting, Dewey's constructing a new town hall, and now there could be changes in the amount of the Sussex County government's contribution to help pay for it. In a memorandum of understanding expected to be reviewed at today's council meeting, the county will give $1.5 million towards the town hall. Earlier discussion had that figure at an even $1 million. And here's why the county is contributing that amount for a projected project that's estimated to cost $11 million. The new town hall will also be a home to the Sussex Emergency Medical Service. County officials say the lease agreement lasts for 30 years and includes 3 designated parking spaces.
Lewis is considering preparation for future damage from storms. Officials will continue to discuss a possible resiliency fund after a public hearing Monday night. The goal of that potential fund is to finance projects like flood control, stormwater management, and environmental restoration. The city is looking to reach $3 to $5 million in the next 5 to 7 years for the fund if passed by the council. Last night's public hearing was one step closer to that fund potentially passing. The public write-in comment period is open until May 2nd at 4 p.m. City Council has not yet set a date yet as to when that fund will be discussed again. And
south of Lewis, Fenwick Island, they're also considering a resiliency fund. It's on the agenda of this morning's infrastructure committee meeting. Fenwick Island, no stranger to weather-related issues. Last month, the construction of berms to control and manage stormwater runoff was reviewed. How to pay for these solutions, that is the big item that will be debated this morning.
Happening today, Ocean View could vote on its budget for fiscal year 2026. According to the agenda, officials will first present a first reading of the budget at this afternoon's town council meeting. The town says it expects over $6 million in operating expenses. This and more will be discussed at 3 p.m.
New this morning, we're expecting to learn about a key business addition in Seaford. According to the agenda of the city council meeting, a new tenant is expected to be revealed for the Nylon Shopping Center. It'll be a joint announcement with Mayor Matt McCoy and Rob Herrera with 9th Street Development. Also, the city says it's holding its municipal election on April 19th from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Two candidates are running for council, Jose Santos and current member Orlando Holland. What a wild game last night. Florida Gators defeat Houston to claim the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. Florida erased a 12-point deficit in the second half to rally and win the third title in program history. And we will have more on that championship game later on Coast TV News Today.
We are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. After another troubling day on Wall Street, President Trump remains steadfast on his plans to raise tariffs on nearly every product imported into the U.S. The president is now threatening even harsher tariffs on China if that country doesn't back down in the escalating trade war.
Also, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu became the first world leader to come to the White House seeking tariff relief. And NBC's Alice Barr shows us all this as new tariffs are set to take effect Wednesday.
This morning, growing fallout to President Trump's sweeping tariffs, from wild stock market swings to top business leaders sounding the alarm, including billionaire Trump backer Bill Ackman, warning of a potential self-induced economic nuclear winter and calling for a pause.
We're not looking at that. We have many countries that are coming to negotiate deals with us, and they're going to be fair deals.
President Trump adamant it's worth the pain to restore U.S. manufacturing and reshape global trade, meeting with Israel's prime minister, who promised to serve as a model.
We will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States. We intend to do it very quickly.
On Capitol Hill, Democrats highlighting the instability and rising consumer prices, calling the tariffs
a tax on the American people.
As many Republicans stand by President Trump,
I think you got to give the president the latitude.
Some are voicing concerns about the effects of high tariffs and a prolonged and widespread trade war.
That is going to be really bad for Texas and really bad for America.
Republicans are celebrating a Supreme Court ruling, throwing out a lower judge's order that blocked the Trump administration from deporting migrants under the rarely used Wartime Alien Enemies Act. However, the justices ruled 5-4 that migrants must first be given due process, something immigration law experts say has been sorely lacking.
Offering absolutely no chance for people to go before any kind of decision maker and say, hey, you got the wrong guy.
The High Court also paused a separate order to return a man wrongly deported to an El Salvador prison. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
We're just getting started in this hour of Coast TV News Today.
Coming up, DSU seeks state funding, the price tag for new construction plans at the university.
Also hearing for debated development, we'll tell you how one project seems to be moving forward amid pushback from one local group.
And Boeing crash suit settled. Even with that, why the company's worries may not be over yet. All that and more as Coast TV News Today continues.
Exactly 6:12 on this Tuesday morning, and the rain is gone. Starting to see blue skies now on the Bay Health Cam in Dover, 43 degrees. Still seeing some fog out there, 4 miles in Ocean City, 6 in Salisbury and Georgetown. So watch for the wet roads, fog, and large puddles for the next hour or so. Then things start to dry out. We're seeing temperatures in the low 40s and the wind starting to pick up from the northwest. They'll get really strong behind a cold front that will start to move in as we go through the next hour or so. Still a few showers offshore, but behind this front, it's very cold and windy, even some snow across the lake effect areas. It's time to get a large coffee or an extra large coffee. It's always an extra large coffee for me. A little bit of cream in there. And we are looking at windy and chilly conditions today. Low 40s this morning, a high of only 47 as we go into this afternoon, but feeling much colder with those strong winds.
Milton drivers, more traffic is expected at Route 1 and 16 because happening today there will be daytime lane closures. This is regarding the Milton Overpass project, which we've covered before. The project is expected to cost $23 million and construction has been underway for over a year.
In Delaware, a report from the Affordable Housing Production Task Force has 9 key recommendations designed to increase options. It was formed in 2024. The task force aims to find solutions for lower and middle income households. And here are some of the recommendations they're making. One is more government money. Other is reforming zoning laws, also making the approval process easier and providing incentives to developers. The bipartisan group includes state officials and housing experts. That full report, that's available online at CoastTV.com.
A settlement was reached on Sunday on the eve of a civil trial against Boeing by 2 of the families of passengers killed in the 2019 737 MAX crash. That's according to a release by the plaintiffs' lawyers. Jury selection was set to start Monday morning. More civil trials from other family members are scheduled.
The CEO of Spirit Airlines is stepping down. Ted Christie's resignation comes after the budget airline filed for bankruptcy late last year. The airline's board of directors is in the process of finding a replacement, but in the meantime, the company says it is creating what it calls an office of the president.
The drying out process is underway. Irish Eyes Cam looking at a little bit of fog, but starting to see breaks in the overcast. Now the rain is moving out. Watch for large puddles on wet roads. The cold air will be moving in through the day with a lot of wind too. Then tonight, protect your plants. We have a freeze on the way, with freeze warnings in effect into tomorrow morning. I'll have your full forecast details coming up after the break. Stay tuned.
And we're about to hit 6:17 on this Tuesday morning. You're looking live at the canal in Lewis just before sunrise there. And Bob, we are expecting a drier day today. Not necessarily a warm one.
No. Will not be a warm day by any stretch, but we're getting rid of the rain. But watch out, we still have some patchy fog out there, wet roads, and large puddles from about 1 to 2 inches of rain that we picked up in the past 24 hours or so. But today we dried out. It will be breezy, cold, temperatures in the 40s and winds gusting over 35 miles per hour, making it feel like 30s at times. And tonight you want to protect your plants. Bring them inside, even along the coast. We have a freeze warning into Wednesday morning. Inland areas dipping into the upper 20s with 30s elsewhere. Right now we're looking at some areas of fog, 5 miles in Ocean City in fog. So it looks like it's beginning to break up as that cold front's getting closer. 6 miles in Salisbury and Georgetown. But take it slow because we still have very wet roads and large puddles out there. Looking at temperatures, pretty much 43 degrees. That is the number right now, except for Ocean City at 44. And these temperatures will actually dip a little bit here in the next hour as the winds are starting to pick up from the northwest. Not especially strong now, but they'll get strong behind a cold front as we're starting to see some breaks in the overcast now across the eastern shore, western parts of Sussex County as the heaviest rain has moved offshore. And here comes the front now making inroads into the eastern shore and into Delmarva, and as it does, it's going to be pushing that cold air our way, and the winds are going to rev up too. And we even have some lake effect snow from Ohio up into New York now as Arctic high pressure is pouring in all this cold air behind this front. And as that high settles over us tonight, that's when we have that chance of seeing a freeze. So we're going to clear it out this morning, and I think temperatures will dip into the upper 30s and then rebound into the 40s, but with the wind feeling much colder with mid to upper 40s. That's it for highs as we go into the afternoon, even though we see lots of sunshine. Winds do start to calm down overnight, and by tomorrow morning, I'm thinking about 29 in Georgetown and Ellendale, 30 in Delmar as the winds relax, even cold along the coast. Temperatures near freezing, so everybody should protect their plants as we go into tomorrow morning. And another chilly day tomorrow with 40s and low 50s, despite lots of sunshine. Could see a frost into Thursday morning as those winds are gusting 35 to 40 miles per hour into the afternoon hours. They do start to relax through the overnight hours as we do have that freeze warning for Sussex County until mid-morning tomorrow. You can see the coast is excluded from this, but still there. Make sure you protect your plants. Salisbury back to Ocean Pines, we're seeing that freeze warning, and for the eastern shore as well. And we have that hard freeze tonight and still a chance of a frost as we go into Thursday morning. So you'll have to cover your plants then too, but especially tomorrow morning. Paul Davis 7-day forecast, windy and cold today, 48, then 29 tomorrow morning with the hard freeze. Wednesday 52, I think it's still frosty Thursday morning, 57 Thursday, and then rain later Thursday into Friday. Friday's looking rainy. And then for the weekend, Passover could be a little wet, 58. And then for Palm Sunday, I think we're mostly cloudy, maybe a stray shower, 57, and then warmer and drier into Monday.
Thank you, Bob, for that. We have an update on a story that we've been covering out of Milton. After several months on limited action, the proposed Cool Spring Crossing development, a plan that includes over 1,200 single-family lots at the intersection of Route 9 and Cool Spring Road, appears to be on track for a public hearing in Sussex County.
It has the attention of the Sussex Preservation Coalition. That organization has listed hearing documents on its website ahead of their meeting tonight in Lewis. The coalition claims the number of people moving into this new development would be a strain on local health care and the educational systems.
And when we covered the story last year, we spoke to people living in the area about their concerns, and here is what one woman told us.
I think you can't stop growth. I think as long as the planners, the engineers do this properly, that we can all benefit.
Last December, we received this response from the marketing firm that's working with Cool Spring Crossings developer Carl M. Freeman Companies. Quote, "Our team is committed to environmental stewardship, traffic management, and promoting inclusive housing options." According to county documents posted on the coalition website about the conditional use ordinance, public hearing is scheduled for May 7th.
New this morning in Georgetown, you can drop off unused or expired medications later this month. The police department says these medications are a public safety issue, and this is an official drop-off site. On April 26th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., people can stop by the department and give up those medications.
Still ahead, DSU seeks state funding. We'll tell you why the school says help from the Delaware government is long overdue. Stay with us on CoastTV News today. This just in, parents at the Cape Henlopen School District can learn more about special education services. According to the district, there is an update from the Division of Developmental Disability Services, and this takes place at the monthly Special Education Parent Council meeting. The council will detail what services are available to families, and that meeting is set for April 16th at the Lewis Elementary School at 6 p.m.
Delaware State University is hoping to score big as the state's 2026 fiscal year budget begins to take shape. The university is asking the state for $125 million for athletic upgrades and an additional $10 million for operational costs. These three-part plans include a $25 million indoor field house, $10 million for stadium and downtown facility upgrades, and a $90 million convocation center.
These athletic facilities that we're going to upgrade and we're going to build will have a tremendous economic impact on Dover and Kent County and Sussex County.
DSU says this project is long overdue, especially given the university's significant growth over the past 5 years. And I hope people took advantage of the warmer weather last week and went to the beach, because today it's in the 40s.
You know, I did see people on the beach over the weekend, but again, we had temperatures in the 80s. Yes. Look, it's April, Bob.
Yes.
It's April. I mean, you know, if we're having this in late May, then we have a problem.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, I mean, we hit 80 on Sunday. and then the bottom fell out, and then the bottom really falls out today. Chincoteague and Assateague, lots of wind. We have a gale warning close to 50 degrees in Chincoteague, mid to upper 40s in Assateague. Those winds gusting over 40 miles per hour at times. Fenwick Island and Ocean City, very windy for you. I think temperatures are staying in the 40s all day long. On the Bayside, windy in Cambridge today, 48, 52 Wednesday. I think late day rain on Thursday. And Crisfield, I think you're done with the showers. Otherwise windy and cold the next couple of days, clouding up on Thursday. Then I think there is more rain by the end of the week. But we've got a freeze warning into tomorrow morning. Protect your plants. More on that coming up in the next half hour.
Break on CoastTV News today. Lewis takes tax comments. We'll tell you what you need to know about the impacts of a proposed rental tax in the city.
Also, increased Dewey contribution. Why Sussex County is agreeing to pay over $1 million for the construction of the Dewey Beach Town Hall.
And absence concerns as the session starts. We'll tell you what you need to know about Stell Parker Selby's absence as lawmakers will return to Dover today. CoastTV News will be right back.
Now on CoastTV News.
The rain is moving out and the cold is moving in. We dried out today with chilly and windy conditions. Protect your plants tonight. We have a freeze warning in effect into Wednesday morning. Details coming up.
Waiting for representation. Will Delaware District 20 Stell Parker Selby take her seat for the first time in this session of the General Assembly?
Taxes target tourists. We have the reaction from Monday night's public hearing in Lewis over a plan to add a new lodging tax.
Ambulance fee increase. That is what is in Millville's budget proposal. Why town officials say the cost for emergency services is going up.
This is CoastTV News Today.
April 8th, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we're about to hit 6:30 on this Tuesday morning. Dry out Tuesday. I might even patent that term if it hasn't already been stolen.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I'm glad it's not raining. The good thing is that pollen did wash away yesterday.
Noticeable.
My sinuses are better this morning, so that's
my truck doesn't look yellow. It's a black truck, and it looks black again.
You know what, Bob? We're being really positive this morning, so these are all good signs. But it's
absolutely,
yeah.
And positivity is a must. You know, there is the upside to getting 1 to 2 inches of rain. It keeps the dust down, it keeps the pollen down, and the allergens. So that's good, and it lowers the drought conditions too. However, we do have wet roads, large puddles still out there, and some areas of fog. 5 miles in fog in Ocean City, 6 miles in Salisbury and Georgetown, but I think that is rapidly improving as we're looking at a cold front heading our way. Clouds are beginning to thin out. We are starting to see some blue skies now beginning to show up as that cold front is making inroads now into Delmarva, and it'll be sweeping through here the next hour, and the winds will be kicking up, and we'll see the cold air behind it. In fact, lake effect snow from Ohio up into New York. We're not going to see that, but the cold and wind following this system as high pressure builds in. We're in the low 40s right now. We could actually dip into the upper 30s for a time once that front comes in, and the winds are not too strong now, but they're really going to rev up through the morning hours as we're seeing 30s and 40s, and with gusty winds feeling much colder than that by noon into the mid 40s. We're only into the upper 40s as we go into the afternoon, even colder at the beaches, and with that wind you're going to want to dress for winter. And if you're going for a run, make sure you layer up, and you'll be dodging some puddles this morning. Temperatures in the 40s, feeling much colder with that strong wind.
Bob, yeah, layering up, drying out. We're now taking a live look into Salisbury. Earlier we had some concerns about fog, but right now it looks like not a fog situation there. Clouds starting to break, but the wet weather is moving out. It is leaving behind chillier conditions.
Our top story this half hour, the Delaware General Assembly will be in session today, and the question this morning, will District 20 Representative Democrat Stell Parker Selby be in attendance? So far this year, she has not, and even though that session of the General Assembly started in January, we were told Parker Selby was only sworn in weeks ago. This has created controversy because District 20, which covers Milton and parts of Lewis, has not had representation on votes in the House this year. In March, the Delaware Republican Party sent a letter to House Democratic leaders to address Parker Selby's absence.
In November 2024, Parker Selby was reelected to the House for a second term, and here's what we know about her situation. She then sent a letter stating she would not be present at Legislative Hall this session due to a medical event. Over 90 pieces of legislation have been voted on in the House in 2025, and Parker Selby has not voted on a single one of them.
New this morning, Sussex County Council and Dewey Beach are continuing its partnership. According to the council's agenda, today officials could approve an updated memorandum of understanding. That document states that the county will give $1.5 million towards the construction of Dewey Beach's new town hall. In exchange, Sussex EMS will continue to lease space out of that town hall building. The county says that lease agreement will last for 30 years and includes 3 designated parking spaces.
New lodging and new rental taxes may find room in the city of Lewis. At a Monday night public hearing, city officials gave updates on 2 accommodation taxes. One would be a 2% lodging tax on hotels. The other would tax short-term and long-term rentals, 5.5% and 5% respectively. City officials say the proposed taxes would give visitors a way to contribute to city funds. CoastTV went to Lewis to learn what people living there think about this, and here's what one woman told us.
I don't think it's going to make a difference. People will pay what it costs. It's a very desirable place to come and visit. You know, it's a great community. There's a lot of history here.
And there's no clear date set from the council on a decision, but the writing comment period is open until May 2nd at 4 p.m.
Fenwick Island is considering a resiliency fund. According to the town's agenda, officials will discuss options at this morning's infrastructure committee meeting. Fenwick Island is no stranger to weather-related issues that could be addressed in a fund like this. In March, the town considered solutions to fight flooding, such as infrastructure additions and state funding. Officials will gather at Town Hall at 10 a.m.
Happening tonight, Millville's Town Council could vote to approve its 2026 fiscal year budget. We've been reviewing it, and here's some of what we found. Overall, the budget calls for over $2.2 million in expenses. It's an increase of just about $15,000 from 2025. Now, in terms of dollars, the biggest increase is with payroll expenses. There's also a proposed ambulance fee of $130,000. That's nearly $11,000 more than the current budget, and Millville officials say the need for more money is due to the increase in homes in the town. New budget must be finalized by the end of the month.
Seaford will present several important announcements at today's council meeting. According to the agenda, a new tenant is expected to be revealed for the Nylon Shopping Center. This will be a joint announcement with Mayor Matt McCoy and Rob Herrera with 9th Street Development. Also, the city says it will hold its municipal election on April 19th from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. 2 candidates are running for council. That's Jose Santos and current member Orlando Holland.
Now, taking a live look at Washington, D.C., it was in that city on Monday that the Supreme Court says the Trump administration can temporarily use the Alien Enemies Act for deportation. That's a law that gives the government certain powers during declared wars, as well as actual or threatened invasions or incursions.
The administration wants to use it to deport Venezuelan nationals it alleges have gang ties. As Amy Kiley shows us, a Supreme Court ruling Monday night doesn't decide the merits of that argument. It's more procedural.
This is a win for the Trump administration.
The Supreme Court is allowing deportation proceedings under the Alien Enemies Act for now, but with stipulations. The ruling throws out a U.S. district judge's order. President Donald Trump says on social media it's, quote, a great day for justice.
You can use these additional authorities, such as the Alien Enemies Act, to target these terrorist organizations.
But the Supreme Court says the men involved in the case can challenge the use of the Alien Enemies Act. They just have to do so in the district where they're detained. The justices say anyone facing deportation under the wartime law should have that opportunity. The ACLU calls that a victory. It comes after ICE sent alleged Venezuelan gang members to an El Salvador prison while legal challenges were still playing out.
They actually, as a practical matter, can get to the courts and not be whisked away in the middle of the night like was originally done in this case.
Another ruling from the Supreme Court yesterday involves a Maryland man erroneously deported to El Salvador. The justices say the U.S. doesn't have to bring him back for now.
That they can whisk someone out of the country by accident and then have no responsibility to fix, what they've broken just doesn't make sense as a legal matter and is also just disturbing as a matter of constitutional law.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
This just in, President Trump threatened to escalate his use of tariffs against China unless Beijing withdraws the retaliatory tariffs it imposed. If the president goes through with further hiking of tariffs on the Chinese, it would mean the tariff rate would surpass 100%. Since U.S. exchanges opened on Monday, markets have been volatile, starting the day with further declines, recovering and then dropping again.
With China, As you know, against my statement, they put a 34% tariff on above what their ridiculous tariffs were already. And I said, if that tariff isn't removed by tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we're putting a 50% tariff on above the tariffs that we put on.
Instead of costs going down, which Donald Trump promised would happen on day one of his presidency, costs aren't going down, they're going up.
President Trump is adamant it's worth the pain to restore U.S. manufacturing and reshape global trade.
We have more news to get to in this final half hour. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, Maryland money concerns. We'll tell you how lawmakers address the budget deficit late into the night as that legislation is now over.
Also, Chomping Championship, how Florida rallied to win a title with players who are Governor's Challenge alumni.
And flash flood protections, we'll tell you how experts say you can stay safe from flooding and how to prepare. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
Just about 6:41 on our Tuesday morning. We're starting the drying out process. Still a little hazy, a little foggy in Laurel on the Tyndall's Casual Furniture Cam 43. So wet roads, large puddles, and the fog. Watch for that. But that'll quickly dissolve as we have a cold front moving through. We're looking at temperatures right now in the low 40s, likely to fall a few more degrees this morning as a cold front is working through. Winds aren't strong now, but boy, they will be later on. Visibility about 5 to 6 miles as that fog is beginning to lift. We're starting to see breaks in the overcast now as that cold front is making inroads across Delmarva and followed by cold air and lots of wind. Don't need the umbrella anymore, but drive with caution with the wind, the wet roads, and some of that fog this morning. Secure the outdoor items. Make sure you have sunscreen for later on, a warm beverage, and you'll need the shades too and the heavier jacket. It's going to be cold. Congratulations to Marilyn White from Dagsboro on winning a new umbrella from Paul Davis and Coast TV.
Thank you, Bob. As Delmarva got showered with rain Monday, the Maryland Department of Emergency Management is giving some tips on how to prepare for future flash flooding. MDEM says to always have an emergency kit that includes food, water, blankets, jumper cables. And the agency says it only takes 6 inches for water to carry away an adult. 12 inches of water can move a small car. And remember the phrase, just turn around and don't drown.
In Cambridge, road work is underway on US 50 between Bucktown Road and Austin Road. You can see that area right here on your screen. MDOT says crews will work from 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Drivers should expect single-lane closures while resurfacing takes place until June.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Yes, the Shorebirds return to DSN tonight for Delmarva's home opener. Let's preview the matchup over at Purdue. The Orioles Single A affiliate opens a 6-game series against the Fayetteville Woodpeckers. It's the first of 25 home games we'll be bringing to your TVs this season. But please note, you cannot watch on the go on DSN+. This is strictly over the air to keep in accordance with MLB and MILB guidelines. First pitch tonight is set for 7:05, and our coverage against the Astros Low A affiliate begins at 7. The Nationals won an exciting one last night over the defending champions. Washington topped the Dodgers 6-4. James Wood homered in the win. Mackenzie Gore struck out 7 over 6 innings to pick up his first victory. And Kyle Finnegan recorded his 4th save. That's the most of any closer in the National League. Washington is now 4-6 on the year. Over to the hardwood, Florida men's basketball has won the national title. The Gators beat Houston 65-63 last night. 39-year-old head coach Todd Golden is the youngest head man to win it all since Jim Valvano back in 1983. And Salisbury men's lacrosse was tabbed #1 in the first NPI rankings of the year. The National Power Index is a metric used to help the selection committee seed schools come the NCAA tournament. The Gulls are 13-0 this season and have won 6 ranked games in the process. Next up, Mary Washington at 4 tomorrow. That's it for sports. Have a great day, everybody.
And here's a look at what's coming up this afternoon on Coast Life at 4.
Coming up on Coast Life, we have a great program for you today. We're going to have a great debate. Leah and I might slightly disagree on the topic of spring cleaning and whether it is or is not stressful. Plus, why pajamas and a party of pajamas is going to help people raise a little bit of money around town, and college scholarship grants. That's something we're looking at as well. Got to help those kids get to school. Stick around. Coast Life is coming up later today.
And the fog is beginning to lift. We're looking at the Irish Ice Cam and starting to see some blue skies, and the rain is gone. Watch for wet roads and large puddles this morning, and we're looking at the wind kicking in behind a cold front, and it gets cold today. Then tonight, protect your plants. We have a freeze warning in effect. Much more on that coming up in your full forecast in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
The time is now 6:47 and we are taking a live look outside at Rehoboth Beach on this very cold morning. Bob, that's actually a really pretty scene there from Rehoboth. I'm good looking at it from a camera. I'll visit when it's warmer out. I think that's what I'll do.
All right. Yeah, no, we're starting to see the clouds breaking up. Elisa, the rain has moved offshore. The fog has lifted. But boy, what a rain event we had. It went on and on and on yesterday. 1.73 inches in Millsboro and Stockley. Dagsboro, 1.58, 1.52 in Slaughter Beach. Over an inch and 4/10 in Harbison and Lewis. And the list goes on. In Delmar, you picked a 1.53. Indian River Inlet, 1.42. 1.39 inches in Rehoboth and Seaford. Georgetown, 1.38. And Bethany Beach, 1.36 of much needed rain, keeping all the allergens and pollen out of the air now, as we have temperatures that are chilly in the low to mid 40s. They could actually dip a couple degrees as this cold front moves through. The wind's not especially strong out of the northwest now, but once that front blasts through, those winds will ramp up. Visibilities are improving. Any lingering fog should lift here in the next half hour or so, as we're starting to see breaks in the overcast, and that cold front is now making its way across the eastern shore into Delaware now, and behind it, it is drier and windy, and it is snowing now from Cleveland up into Erie, PA, and into upstate New York. That's just telling us how cold that air is coming in out of the northwest. We're not going to see the snow, but we're definitely going to see the cold with partly cloudy skies and windy conditions as Arctic high pressure is building in. And as a high settles over us tonight, that sets us up for a freeze as we go into tomorrow morning. But I think for a time we dip into the upper 30s with those strong winds. You're going to need to bundle up really all day. By noon, we're slowly warming through the 40s, upper 40s by 4 p.m., even colder at the beaches, and those winds gusting over 40 miles per hour. Winds do relax tonight, and then that sets us up for that freeze as we go into tomorrow morning. Around 29 in Georgetown, 30 in Ellendale, 30 in Delmar. Even at the beaches, you want to protect your plants there because temperatures fall close to freezing, and then only into the 40s and low 50s as we move into Wednesday. Could see another frost Thursday morning. Those winds really gusty today, 35 to maybe 40 miles per hour at times. Make sure you secure those items. Then the winds do calm down enough where we will see a freeze inland Sussex County as we go into tomorrow morning. You don't see that warning at the coast, but you want to protect those plants anyway. And across Maryland and the eastern shore, also that freeze warning through mid-morning. So a hard freeze tomorrow morning, and I think we're going to see a frost Thursday, so you'll need to protect your plants even then. Paul Davis, 7-day forecast. Windy and cold today, 48 down to 29 tomorrow morning. Lots of sunshine Wednesday, only 52, 57 Thursday. Rain builds in later Thursday. I think Friday's a rainy day, 60 degrees, and then moving into the weekend, could be a little wet for Passover, 58 on Saturday. There will be a storm offshore, bringing us rain and cooler temperatures into the upper 50s. Palm Sunday, I'm hoping for just mostly cloudy skies, 57, then 67 Monday, and partly cloudy.
Thank you, Bob. Happening in Annapolis, Maryland lawmakers worked down to the wire on Monday. It was the last day of the 2025 legislative session, and they've adopted a budget that addresses the state's $3.3 billion deficit. It cuts $2 billion and increases fees and taxes by nearly $1.7 billion. The upcoming session adjournment usually has a celebratory feel to it, but for some lawmakers, it was not the case this year.
I feel like it's not celebratory because I feel as though that in listening to the constituency, understanding the challenges that they're having, from the electric bill expenses, food expenses, to everyday life, that they are really going to take it even harder to have other things compounded upon it.
Some Eastern Shore legislators say they fear the state will also be in a deficit next year.
The time is now 6:51, and we're going to check in with our coastal pet of the day.
Got a couple of them here, Elisa. Check out these two great-looking greyhounds on your screen. That is Odin and Mama, and They were submitted to us by Irene in Lewis.
Says they're retired racing
Yeah.
greyhounds. I hope they're enjoying retirement, and we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen.
If you do that, you'll see that QR code in the top center there. If you scan that, you can get your friends to us at Coast TV News, and then watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
A cold front is moving across Delmarva as we speak and starting to clear us out. You see the clouds moving a little faster. The fog beginning to lift in Laurel 43. The winds are going to ramp up today as the cold air moves in. Bundle up. It's going to feel like winter today. And then protect your plants tonight. We do have a freeze warning essentially for everybody as we go into tomorrow morning with those temperatures dipping way down. And then more rain end of the week into the weekend. I'll have your 10-day forecast coming up next.
The time is now 6:55, and here's the things you need to know before you go. Lewis is considering preparations for future damage from future storms. Officials will continue to discuss a possible resiliency fund after a public hearing Monday night. The goal of that potential fund is to finance projects like flood control, stormwater management, and environmental restoration. The public write-in comment period is open until May 2nd at 4 p.m.
In a memorandum of understanding expected to be reviewed at today's Sussex County Council meeting, the county says it will give $1.5 million towards the new Dewey Beach Town Hall. Earlier discussion had that figure at an even $1 million, and the reason why the county is contributing that amount for a project estimated to cost over $11 million, the new Town Hall in Dewey will also be a home to the Sussex Emergency Medical Service.
Delaware State University is hoping to score big as the state's 2026 fiscal year budget begins to take shape. The university is asking the state for $125 million for athletic upgrades and an additional $10 million for operational costs. That three-part plan includes a $25 million indoor field house, $10 million for stadium and downtown facility upgrades, and a $90 million convocation center. DSU says this project is long overdue, especially given the university's significant growth over the past 5 years.
Heads up for drivers in Milton. We could see more traffic at the Route 1 and 16 intersection happening today. There'll be daytime lane closures. This is related to the Milton Overpass project. That project expected to cost $23 million, and construction has been underway for over a year.
It is 6:56, so we're going to take another quick look at your forecast before you head out the door.
Windy times ahead of us,
That's
Bob.
for sure.
But before we get to the wind, I really have to be careful out there. It's soaked. We have a lot of big puddles. The fog is beginning to lift and wet roads. So just take it slow out there this morning. Otherwise, those winds will crank up behind the cold front that's moving across Delmarva right now. And temperatures don't rise very much into the upper 40s. And with winds gusting to 40 miles per hour, it's going to feel like 30s. Hard freeze tonight. Make sure you protect your plans. Paul Davis 10-day forecast. 29 on the low, 52 Wednesday. I think another frost Thursday morning, 57 Thursday, rain later Thursday into Friday. And for the weekend, Passover could be a little wet, 58. Drier on Palm Sunday, and then warmer and drier next week.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News Today.
And the Today Show is coming up next at 7 a.m.
Then we'll be back for Coast TV News Midday at 11.
Until then, have a great Tuesday morning, everybody.